In movies and money, Jurassic World overshadowed the competition at the box office. Let's bring in movie man Erik, Childress, founder of the Movie Madness podcast. Erik, Jurassic World Rebirth owned the July 4th holiday at theaters. How does it compare financially to the rest of the Jurassic franchise?
Well, the positive news is that the new Jurassic film is in no danger of not turning a profit. It made over $318 million across the world in its first 5 days, and by the end of this weekend, could already have recouped its cost. But there are some red flags that Universal should be keeping an eye on. We didn't talk about the film last week, but I am of the firm opinion that this is the worst of the Jurassic series by some margin. Plus, the $147 million it made over the holiday was the lowest of the world films in their first 5 days by roughly $25 million. And with a certain superhero film opening this week, I am expecting a huge drop in attendance that could lay the road for a domestic gross lower than $300 million. Again, all of this is academic as the profit margin is still going to be huge, but how many more bites will audiences take with this series if they continue to be as disappointed as I was with the latest?
The long-awaited reboot of Superman is in theaters this weekend. Here's a clip of that film.
My father once told me, "It's not about what you can do, Clark. It's about what you choose to do." That's why I choose to protect this world.
What's your review of Superman 2025?
Well, it brings me no joy in Mudville or Metropolis to say this, but I believe this will be the worst of any cinematic iteration of Superman that we have seen to date, and there have been some bad movies. This new one from James Gunn, which was supposed to be the opening salvo to the new DC Comics cinematic universe, is an absolute mess that makes The Flash look like The Dark Knight. Whatever pedestal some of us put Christopher Reeve on, who was not immune from badly written and staged Superman films, David Cornsweet's portrayal is a new low. In 1978, we were told we would believe a man could fly. In 2025, we are having trouble that an actor could even play Clark Kent. The effects work may not be as bad as Ant-Man Quantumania or Superman 4 The Quest for Peace, but they aren't top-notch either. The film forgoes the origin story and thrusts us right into the middle of a story that gets less interesting as it goes along, as Gunn tries to make this as jokey as the Guardians of the Galaxy or his Peacemaker TV series to distract us from how the film has virtually no stakes to speak of. Superman is like a group of disconnected comic panels from different books smashed together with no panache. It often feels like we are watching meaningless bridge episodes of a TV show rather than a work of cinema. I talk a lot more about this film on the Movie Madness podcast this week with comic book expert Erik Laws. Feel free to listen to us there because we simply don't have enough time here to discuss everything that is bad about this film.
You have a super list of films for the weekend.
Absolutely, Angie. For those looking for some actual truth and justice, go on over to HBO Max, which has as much Superman as you would like in both live action and animated form. But I would stick to the original 1978 Richard Donner classic Superman and the 1981 sequel Superman 2. There's a reason these two films are to this day still held in such high regard, well before the onslaught of comic book films over the years. They respect the characters, have great villains and actors like the late great Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, and told compelling stories backed by the still soaring score of John Williams. And when you are done with those, also go back to Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, the recent documentary about the late actor and his triumphs and tragedies. It will give you an even greater appreciation for Reeve's performances as Superman and especially as Clark Kent, and the way he could seamlessly transition between the two without breaking a cord sweat. That's the Superman trilogy worth your time this weekend, not what is in theaters.
Another oldie but goodie with Christopher Reeve, Somewhere in Time. Thank you, Erik.
Thank you, Angie.